Happy Monday, people. We've made it to Monday. It's the end of October at last. I say at last. It's been a long month of trials and tribulations, some of which have been Sober October related, some of which have been work related, some of which have been other things related, but we don't let anything get in the way of progress, do we? No. So the point of this video on a Monday morning, strange time for me to put a video out, I must say, because normally it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I thought I'd do a wrap up of Sober October on the last day of the month, Monday the 31st of October 2022. So, what's the point of this video? Well, it is to give my thoughts on the month that's just gone by and the different beers that I've tried, but most importantly, the Sober October movement as a whole. And I thought of different ways that I can do this video, how I could go about portraying my points. And I thought the easiest way, after umming and ahhing for quite a bit, was just do a list of pros and cons and just talk about them. So that's what I've done. And it's surprisingly difficult to come up with a list that fits. It's a balanced opinion and is productive at the same time. So I thought we'd start with the pros. The pros are nice and easy. The first obvious pro is that you're drinking less alcohol, and whatever way you cut it, that is a good thing. Too much alcohol, we all know the effects of it on both your health, your social life, your family life, everything. It has an effect on one way or another when consumed outside of moderation. And that can never be a bad thing to reduce your alcohol intake. And 2 years ago to this very day, when I was diagnosed yet again with blood clots in my lungs, one of the things that was asked of me on my admission to hospital was, how much alcohol do you drink, sir? And I was like, okay, I don't drink a lot. Even by sort of most standards, I don't drink a lot. I used to have 2 on a Friday, 2 on a Saturday, maybe 2 on a Sunday as well. And according to the NHS, that puts you in the medium to high risk in terms of the unit intake. Depends on what you drink, of course. And I thought to myself, I got quite affronted by that. And even the nurses who were doing the initial sort of triage and survey, they were saying, don't worry about it. It's perfectly normal to be in that category. It's just over and above what they expect the sensible level to be, which is 14 units a week. And we'll come on to that later. So yeah, I was a little bit affronted by that, and I thought, well, okay, I knew what was coming at the point of my diagnosis, so I was prepared for that. And the obvious next pro is no hangover. I never used to get hangovers as such. In fact, I tell a lie, I had one. I was a teenager. I was working, and I'd been out on the night before, on the Friday night with my mates, as you do as a teenager, drinking far too much, knowing that you're in work the next day. And boy, did I regret it. And that's the last time I had a hangover. I've had sort of alcohol in excess afterwards and felt rough, but never hungover. But I don't get that anymore at all in my current situation. And, for people who cut it out entirely for October, like I have this month, you're going to have no hangovers. And that is always a good thing. No one likes getting up in the morning after having that kebab breath and beer breath and that general feeling of where you can't function. Always a good thing to get rid of that. So that is a definite pro. And the other one is you can drive wherever you want, when you want, providing you're all legal and you've got fuel in your car. And, having a drink on the night out before, you think, I can't go anywhere the next morning because I'm bound to be still over the limit. Or, you can go out, everyone else can have dinner, you can have dinner, you can have an alcohol-free beverage of your choice, and you can still drive home. You haven't got to leave your car wherever you are and get a cab. Bonus. And those are the key ones for me. And all of them kind of evolve around health and all that jazz, It's a win-win-win scenario for those three. And then we come on to the problem side, the cons. And those are the ones that... These are not so much aimed at Sober October as a one-off entity. It's more about the movement as a whole. And it's one that you see... I'm still... even in my situation, a current active camera member, because I love beer and everything about it in the production methods. I grew up in the southeast, so oast houses were everywhere, and it's just ingrained, in my life. And it's it's a problem because the hospitality industry just has not caught up with modern day society, in as much as the alcohol-free choices in bars and restaurants is shocking. I've experienced it a lot lately, and during the pandemic, people weren't going out much anyway. But pre-pandemic, I used to go out shopping on a Saturday up to town and do what I needed to do. And if it was around lunchtime, me and my son would stop off somewhere, usually a camera-based pub, and thoroughly enjoy a meal and a drink. And now I could still do the same, but when I'm having a Sunday roast up at Victoria Lounge Bar in Hanley, I would like an alcohol-free beverage because I like a beer with my dinner. Go figure. And the choices are just poor. I went out 2 weekends ago. I went down to see my brother and sister-in-law and my nieces, and we all went out for lunch. And we went to this Marston's pub and ordered some food. And I ordered the drinks for everybody else. I said, right, what have you got that's alcohol-free? And the barmaid just looked at me and went, got Beck's Blue. And I was like, it's not the worst out there, admittedly, but to have one alcohol-free choice when you've got a plethora of about 50 other options that are fully alcoholic is piss poor, ladies and gents, boys and girls. There's no getting away from it. And that's a good example of many establishments across the country. And people like myself are not catered for. I can drink a little bit, but not a lot. And when I'm out and about, I will prefer to have alcohol free, but the choice just isn't there. I'm an adult. I don't want sugary fizzy drinks. I'm not a child. So yeah. The industry as a whole, say, oh, Sober October is such a bad thing for the pub industry. Yes, it is, because you don't keep up with the trends. You don't stock the alcohol-free beverages that will keep people like myself going in and buying drinks on a regular basis. That's why I don't go to pubs anymore, because there's no choice for me. And that wouldn't just be October. It's every single month from here on in. I cannot go out and enjoy a meal and beverages like I used to. I know it's not your fault, but you want customers to come in throughout October. You say it's such a bad thing for the pub industry to cut out alcohol for the whole of October. Do something about it then. Stock the choices. So yeah, that's my my little rant out of the way. The other one is it's a social thing. You go out for a night out with work colleagues or whatever. Doesn't matter who, and drinks are flowing for those who can enjoy them. And they're like, oh, have a drink. It's like, no, I can't. Medication, can't do it. And oh, you're no fun anymore. There is a social stigma for people who do not drink, and it needs to change. That is not one fault that is going to be easy to fix, because it's changing the minds of millions of people across the world. And it's not going to happen overnight. There has to be some form of social acceptance of alcohol-free drinkers like myself. And supermarkets are cottoning onto that as well. You only got to go into your local Tesco's a few years ago, or Sainsbury's, or your supermarket of choice, and the alcohol-free choice might have been one or two drinks. They might have had a red and a white wine. They might have had one or two beers that are alcohol-free, but generally the selection was awful. Now you go in there, and in my local Tesco, you've got two of the full-size racks, width-wise, floor to ceiling, full of different alcohol-free choices. Now, granted, they don't change very often, but the choice is there. And there are at least 12, 13, 14 drinks that I would buy and consume on a regular basis, be they beer, spirits, or wine. There is a great choice out there. And that's just another sort of nail in the coffin of the hospitality industry. If pubs and that cannot keep up, but supermarkets are picking up the slack and giving people the choice, it's the industry's fault, not the supermarkets. So yeah, there's problems out there that need to be fixed, and they're not going to happen quickly because the industry is so slow to react and people are stuck in their ways. It's as simple as that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Sober October movement as a whole. Have I enjoyed this month? Yeah, I have, and I'll tell you why. Because I've been able to, through the delights of the online industry, yet again having to pick up the slack that supermarkets are covering as well. There is a great choice of alcohol-free beverages out there. There are more alcohol-free breweries now than there ever have been, and they're growing. They are growing in a big way. One of my favourites, who I'm wearing the T-shirt of today, has been approached by a big national brewer, but they've said no. They sat and listened. They said no, though. Why? Simple. They do what they do, and they do it well, and they do it with love. They don't really care about big business sort of taking over. I mean, I know I'm making an assumption here, but the perception is from Mash Gang, they care about what they do. Big business does not. They just see it as a bloody money grab. And there is money to be made out there, but if you're going to do it well. Do it like Mash Gang. Put love into the beverage and people will buy it. There is a core group of people out there who are doing that right now. I buy Mash Gang on a very regular basis. I've put into their crowdfunder in a big way. And the whole movement of alcohol free is growing. It will continue to grow, and it's time the industry kept up. And by the industry, I mean hospitality, of course. So yeah, I did enjoy this month. The choice of drinks was great. I've had some good ones. If you haven't seen them already, check out the video I'm going to put up there. It's the whole month, all in one. There's plenty to choose from, and the alcohol-free video section in my channel is knocking off 200 videos now. So there's plenty out there of choice, and you definitely enjoy. Will I do it again? Yeah, I will, because A, I have to, medically. B, I enjoy it. Cutting out the alcohol completely has not. I'm not going to say changed my life, because it hasn't. But what it has done is given me that appreciation for doing what I'm doing. Enjoying good alcohol-free beer, not thinking to myself, can I have that? Do I have to allow for it in my 14 units a week? And then I'm going to circle back from earlier on. It's interesting, that 14 units a week is what the NHS say you can have as a safe, moderate level. And on the medication that I'm on to stop my liver turning, well, not to stop my liver turning into a sieve, it is to stop my liver turning into a sieve, I can only have up to 14 units a week. On the medication I've been on in the past for this same condition, you couldn't have anything in my state as I was, because I did not drink a lot. They said, if you don't drink a lot, don't drink. If you drink a lot, i.e. you're an alcoholic or heavy drinker, just continue, because otherwise it will mess with your medication in the negative way. So yeah, I stick to the 14 units a week. I have nowhere near that on a weekly basis. Nowhere near. I've been anally retentive. I've recorded it all in a spreadsheet, and I've just kept the units down low. If I'm lucky if I ever consume over 5 units a week. Lucky to, but there we go. It's a restriction on your life, but it's not kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's not the end of the world. Simple as that, And the more time goes by, it's now, like I say, it's now 2 years to the day since I was diagnosed with clots, and it's been another couple of days since I get out of the hospital. But since then, my alcohol intake has dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped, and to the point now I don't miss it. Last time I did alcohol-free April, I was looking forward to the end of the month because I wanted a real beer, as I call them, real beers, fully leaded. Now, my wife says to me, looking forward to the end of the month. I said, yeah, but not because I can have a real beer again. It's just because, it's 1 month closer to Christmas. So, yeah, I don't miss it. I did not ever think I'd get to that point at all. So there is hope yet for the future that people who do rely on alcohol, with help from sort of decent brewers putting out decent beer, you might be able to cut it out completely. So I know I had this conversation with various people back in April when I first tried it, and it was a struggle, I must admit. Now, it isn't. It really isn't a struggle for me at all. So I think I might just keep it up. You never know. I've got a few beers in left, to review for the channel and just to enjoy because I wanted to. But when they're gone, I might not replace them. I might not get any fully leaded beer again. I just don't know. I doubt it. I'll be honest, because the choice of alcohol-free beer out there is exceptional now, and that there really is no place for alcohol in my life. Never thought I'd say that as a 40-year-old man. Never thought I'd say it. But there we go. That is my thoughts on Sober October. So thank you for persevering throughout the whole month. If you have, thank you again. I appreciate all of your interaction, all your likes, all your comments, and your subscriptions as well. I'm going to leave it there and say, I've been me. This has been October. Next month is November. Looking forward to fireworks night and Christmas. And I'll see you again soon for another video. Bye.